Tonight on News 5 Live, Foreign Minister Eamon Courtney explains the need for former Ambassador Alexis Rosado to remain on Belize's ICJ team and says that terminating him from the public service is easier said than done. The Ministry of Blue Economy holds a public meeting in Sargassum to discuss the new amendments to the Fisheries Act. And the Senate meets to discuss several bills including technical and financial assistance for farmers in the agricultural sector. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Digi, the premier name in voice and data, is also the country's leading provider of innovative services and solutions for small business and enterprise. At DigiBusiness, we offer solutions, tools, and applications to support your business needs. Reduce costs, improve efficiency, and excel in a changing world where no idea is too big and no task is too small. From technology advising to design implementation and management, our team of qualified solution sales and specialists can develop a reliable and robust infrastructure, allowing you to spend more time on what matters most, your business. Visit us online to explore how DigiBusiness innovative products and solutions can help your business reduce costs and improve efficiency.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening. Welcome to News 5 Live for Friday, May 20th. I am Annalyn Apollonio. Former Ambassador to the European Union, Alexis Rosado, is in London along with a team of experts on international law, making the final touches on the counter memorial as he remains co-agent on Belize's ICJ team. For many, given the criminal allegations of a sexual nature brought against Rosado, he should be removed. The career diplomat was arraigned before the magistrate's court in Belmopan on April 20th, when he was read a slew of charges including 7 counts of aggravated assault and 2 counts of rape. The Prime Minister nonetheless maintains that his expertise in the case is needed. Today, News 5 spoke with Foreign Minister Eamon Courtney, who explains Rosado's status as a public officer and the critical reasoning behind his retention on the ICJ team.
Ambassador Rosado is a public officer. He is a 107 under the Constitution, a 107 public officer. And as you know, public officers have security of tenure of office. There's a process for a public officer to be disciplined. There's a process for a public officer to be removed. Insofar as he's concerned, there are allegations made against him, very serious allegations. And the Prime Minister decided that based on those allegations, we would withdraw him from representation in Brussels, but that he would continue because of his skill, expertise and experience on the Belize-Guatemala issue to continue in his role as a co-agent. He continues in that until the case is finished, and whatever happens with the case, we'll then have to take a decision at that time. Bringing Ambassador Rosado back from Brussels was not a punishment. An allegation has been made against him. Until that allegation is proven, he remains innocent. He continues to have his job. There is a process. If somebody wants to have him removed from that job, there is a process. It's a very difficult process. As far as the Prime Minister is concerned, as far as I am concerned, at this point in time, the case that has been made against him does not affect his ability to perform his duties as ambassador and co-agent. We have brought him back, moved him from frontline representation, and asked him to stay on as our co-agent, continuing the research and preparing the case. The allegation against him in his private life is serious and something that he has to deal with. And I don't know how and when that is going to be resolved, but as far as I'm concerned, at this time, as we understand where we are, it's important that he continues to do the work for Belize. And let me just say this. There are not a lot of people who have spent decades studying the Belize-Guatemala issue, both from a historical point of view, from a diplomatic point of view, and from a legal point of view. There are not a lot of Belizeans. We have hired international experts. They are international experts in law. But we need people like Assad, like Alexis, who know the facts, like David Gibson, who know the facts, who know the history. And we have to deploy all those resources because Guatemala is claiming more than 2/3 of our country. And we need every skilled person, every experienced person, every expert person on board supporting and defending Belize's interests. Ambassador Rosado is one of them, and so as far as I'm concerned, he should continue to provide that service for Belize.
As you just heard, Guatemala is claiming 2/3 of Belize's territory. And while the work of Belize's ICJ team continues, Belize's counter-memorial in the Belize-Guatemala ICJ case has been finalized and is in the process of being submitted in time for June 8th. This was confirmed by Minister of Foreign Affairs, Eamon Courtney, during a one-on-one interview with News 5 this afternoon. Minister Courtney says that the memorial is with the printers in London. After its submission, Guatemala will then have 6 months to respond.
The counter memorial has now been finalized. It is now at the printers. It is being printed, and some additional work is being done because, in 6 months Guatemala has to reply, and then we have 6 months. So there's some additional work that requires some more research, and that is being undertaken at this time.
So at what date is it filed?
Well, we have to file it before the 8th of June. So I don't know, we'll file it on the 4th or the 5th, somewhere around there. I don't know, but before the 8th.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade and Immigration, Eamon Courtney, also spoke about the amnesty program, which is tentatively set to begin in July. It is estimated that over 40,000 persons who have made Belize their home have irregular immigration status in the country. The amnesty program is a government initiative to regularize their status, but not all may satisfy the conditions put in place and be able to receive permanent residency. Today, Minister Courtney told News 5 that those who are in the country illegally will be dealt with by the law. Meanwhile, those who will successfully gain permanent residency would have to apply 5 years later for nationality.
We have identified places where people can go and apply. We have going through all the processes in terms of the online applications, in terms of the procedures, the documents, the PR education campaign that has to be undertaken, training of people who have been hired to process the applications. I think by now they have procured or have at least done the bids for equipment and computers, printers, etc. that needs to be done. And so those will be supplied shortly. And hopefully by July 1st we'll be ready to go. Let me just say this. We are dealing with people who have made Belize their home, but they are here illegally. We cannot go house to house looking for people and seeing if you're legal or illegal. So what we have decided to do is to grant an amnesty to allow everybody a chance who have been here and who satisfy the criteria to come in and apply. You may be refused. You may think you qualify, but if you are refused, you will be dealt with according to law. If you qualify, you get permanent residence. It is not nationality. It regularizes your status. And if after 5 years you satisfy the procedure, then you can apply for nationality. So let me just remove the possibility, any at all, that this is being done for any political purpose. These people, if they were granted permanent resident status, they cannot vote in the next general elections. So let's understand that. This is done in order to try to bring people into the formal economy, try to regularize their status so that we know who is here illegally, so that we know who are using our public sector, hospitals, education, etc., so that we can manage that and we can have accurate data. Once these people are brought into the formal sector, they contribute far more to the economy. They no longer need to hide. They no longer need to accept subhuman wages. They no longer need to work in conditions that are just absolutely inhuman. They have a right because they are permanent residents and they are treated humanely. So for Belize, we have to recognize that a problem exists of tens of thousands of people who are here illegally. We need to regularize them and then we draw a line. Anybody after that, we have to be tough on them. So that is the plan.
Last Friday's House meeting saw the introduction of a loan motion for Belize to borrow $25 million from the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. This is to aid in funding a climate resilient and sustainable agriculture project. The initiative will provide for support to agriculture producers with an emphasis on individual smallholder farmers who are transitioning to commercial production. This morning, during the sitting of the Senate, Leader of Government Business, Senator Eamon Courtney, presented the motion in the upper house.
I move, whereas Belize, being a member of the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, is eligible for development assistance in the form of loans, grants, and technical assistance from the bank on such terms and conditions as may be agreed between Belize and the bank from time to time. And whereas the government of Belize has approached the bank for financial assistance to implement a climate resilient and sustainable agriculture project to be undertaken by the Ministry of Agriculture with the assistance of the Belize Social Investment Fund. And whereas this project will provide funding for support to agricultural producers with an emphasis on individual smallholder farmers who are transitioning to more commercial production, while also supporting more established commercial farmers and farmer associations that wish to adopt climate-smart practices to improve the sustainability of their enterprises. Thus, the project will entail 1, capacity building for key public agricultural institutions so that these are equipped to support a transition to more resilient, productive, and green agricultural development. And 2, financing using matching grants for the adoption of improved practices and know-how by agricultural producers, as well as for collective shared technologies and assets.
The motion, however, brought forward more questions than answers, and opposition Senator Michael Perfy took the liberty to point out the ambiguities in the presentation, that is.
When it talks about financial assistance to implement a climate resilient and sustainable agricultural project, what kind of transition? We're talking consultancies, we're talking hard projects, what are we talking? Funding for support to agricultural producers with an emphasis on individual smallholder farmers who are transitioning to more commercial production. What are you talking about? Funding how? What's the criteria for this funding? How do you determine who gets the funding? Who decides who gets the funding? Is there a panel? Is there a board? Is it decided by the Ministry of Finance? None of those details we don't know. And sometimes when you flesh out the details in the, man, we know what you say, man. We know what you say. You actually read it? Boy, I would be our first. So what I'm saying, Madam President, we're still not clear as to fully how it will be implemented to the end.
Business Senator Kevin Herrera, in discussing the proposal, spoke on the need for government to carefully consider the interests of farmers and others in rural communities across the country. He says that GOB should look closely at issues such as food security and poverty in the broader context of climate-resilient agriculture.
In terms of looking at the welfare of our rural population, in terms of looking at food security, in terms of looking at trying to keep that rural population out of poverty, I think it's extremely important that we continue to look at climate resilient agriculture. I think that it's very timely. I'm hoping that we could do more of it in a much larger fashion, because agriculture continues to be very important to our economy. 60% of our agriculture comes from 4 sectors, for 4 areas in agriculture. And the other 40% is a lot of other small farming areas, crops, livestock. And so if we don't address the threats that climate change is bringing, I think that we could be in a lot of trouble with respect to keeping persons out of poverty. My request to the government, Madam President, is that in carrying out these projects and hopefully future projects in this respect, that we continue to keep it objective with respect to selection of how those monies will be spent.
Coming up, the fishing communities in the north converge at Sargassum to discuss the impact of new law on their livelihood. Details when we return.
Hello friends, this is Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, I look for someone to come and help me, but no one gives me a passing thought. No one will help me. No one cares a bit what happens to me. Today there's much being said about community, which simply means we need one another if we're to make it. God has designed us to be a friend and helper to all. This is clearly seen in Genesis, where after Cain had committed the first murder by killing his brother Abel, the Lord said to him, "Where is your brother Abel?" "I don't know," he replied. "Am I my brother's keeper?" Or literally, "Am I my brother's guardian?" Yet too often we feel like the man in Psalms who in deep trouble cried out, "I looked on my right hand and beheld, but there was no man that would know me. Refuge failed me. No man cared for my soul." What is wrong with our world when we show more contempt than compassion, more anger than affection, and more revenge than reconciliation? Only recently, the New York Times carried the story of 5 teenagers in Cocoa, Florida, who recorded by cell phone laughing as they watched 31-year-old Jamel Dunn on July the 9th drowning in the middle of a large pond and crying out for help. They responded by calling him a junkie and saying, "Ain't nobody going to help you, you dumb bitch." Then they heard him whimper and they laughed as he went under the water and drowned. In a cold-hearted world, there is a God who cares, and He invites you to cast all your care upon Him today. Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
The government of Belize has been blazing a trail and delivering on every milestone of its tax reform program. Iris Belize was launched in 2021 and its second phase is here in 2022. It provides taxpayers and or their representatives with the ability to sign up for Iris Belize. You'll now be able to inquire, file, and pay online. This means that tax clients like you are able to sign up online and get access to individual and companies' tax accounts. No more long lines. Contactless, safe, from support, from the privacy and safety of your homes and offices.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
My name is Natalie and I'm a working mom with 2 small children. Before I got pregnant, there were never any issues about my performance at work. However, when I did get pregnant, the way I was treated made me feel that I wasn't welcome anymore in the workplace. And so I decided to resign for my health and for the health of my baby. By the time my husband and I decided to have a second child, I was working at a company that had policies that accommodate women who are pregnant and nursing mothers. For example, we would get time off to nurse our children. I feel lucky to be working for a company that does not discriminate against pregnant women or nursing mothers. I believe that all women in Belize deserve that right. And at the end of the day, we're all Belizeans and we should all be treated with respect.
We live in a world obsessed with the latest trends, fashions, and lifestyles, setting unrealistic expectations and wanting to alter everything about ourselves. How is this affecting our self-worth? What if we were able to silence all the noise and focus on what really matters? Join us right here for Sagebrush Church as we begin our new series, Identity Theft, where we will discuss how to live in a world with ever-changing standards of perfection.
News 5 asked Minister Perez about his ministry's response to the sargassum issue plaguing Belize's coast. According to Minister Perez, a team consisting of members from the Ministry of Blue Economy, Sustainable Development and Tourism was sent to Playa del Carmen, Mexico to observe a cleanup initiative that is currently being undertaken. The ministry is now preparing to secure this service to clean up our local beaches and coastline. He explained that it will be a costly venture, but one that is absolutely necessary.
The Ministry of Sustainable Development, the Ministry of Tourism, and the Blue Economy, we sent off a team to Playa del Carmen to see a project that they are doing, a very ambitious project, and it is working. They have adopted 6 kilometers of beach, and the work that they're doing is tremendous. I think I may have sent some footage on that, but it involves a fleet of pontoon boats that have the capability of actually floating on very low waters and on shallow waters. And the idea is not to wait for the sargassum to get to the shores, but rather capture it in the waters. And this fleet of boats should be capturing it along the waters in front of the islands and transport it to a much bigger barge, but not a huge one, but one that is able to hold this sargassum, and we can take it to shore at a collection site where it can be distributed, whether it's for landfill or whether it can be, eventually we can look for other options, or even for methane or something that we can use for energy. The people that offered us this have come to San Pedro. We have taken them on a reconnaissance to look at the waters. They have been on the boats to look at how the currents are. And by the way, in San Pedro, we have people who have studies of how the currents come in. All of that are being put together. But in Belize, we have a very unique situation that is much better than what our counterparts in Quintana Roo have. The reef. The reef has channels. They call them cuts in Creole, right? And when you take those flights and you come into Belize City, you can clearly see these swaths of sargassum coming in, and it becomes like a funnel, bottleneck, and it comes through these cuts. And they come to the shallow waters, and then it disperses and reaches all the islands. So we believe that we can do that and make that attempt to capture that sargassum in those cuts.
The discussion continued today in Sargassum over a fisheries regulation that was passed into law in March of this year for a 4.5-ounce lobster tail weight as the approved threshold up from 4 ounces. There was also an increase in the escape gap size of the lobster traps, and this has not been sitting well with thousands of fisher folks across the country who says that their livelihood is being threatened by the new law. Today, the Ministry of Blue Economy traveled to Sargassum to meet with hundreds of fishermen who were not too happy. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
It was a heated discussion today in Sargassum village as hundreds of local fishermen converged in the village for a public meeting with representatives from the Fisheries Department and the Ministry of Blue Economy. The fishermen were up in arms, claiming that their livelihood is being threatened by a recent amendment to the fisheries law. Daniel Andrade is a fisherman for 24 years, and he says the move will see them lose 40% of their annual income.
This 4.5 will benefit us, the fishers, because in 2 to 3 months, this 4 will reach to 4.5. Now, the point is, how could that be when lobsters migrate from one country to the other? And this is not something that I'm saying. You can do your research if you want, and I have seen it too, okay? Where I work for so many years, from month to month, we can see different types of lobsters and different colors of lobsters. So we are seeing that this 4 to 4.5 is not beneficial for us. It is gonna be beneficial for who? I'm not sure. No, this will affect us not in 8% as our Minister of fish of the fishermen of the fisheries, the blue economy, is saying that we are gonna be affected by 8%. We are gonna be affected by more than 40% of our income.
But for years I have been saying that I fight for this 4 ounce in 2003. And OSPESCA, or Central America Respect Belize. And I'm proud to say that I was a part of that. And because that will impact our country. Our country is totally different than all the other countries in Central America regional. Whenever regulation pass, it will hurt the fisheries so badly. And I don't know what is taking place. But there are some people that believe in just put laws and regulations without consulting. And that's not fair.
The issue goes back to 2009 when the then UDP administration signed a binding regional lobster regulations document with OPESCA, the Organization of Fisheries and Agriculture in Central America. There was pushback by the fishers then, and the issue was delayed for over a decade until this year when the regional organization called out Belize for its non-compliance. CEO Kennedy Carrillo of the Ministry of Blue Economy says that while it was ratified over a decade ago, it would appear that some fishers are only just learning of the regulation, despite representation from cooperatives on the Advisory Council.
We must engage the communities, we must engage the experts, and we must engage the owners of this industry. That is fully understood. We are not here to bombard with science or to speak about regulations that are already in place. We are here to say, let us discuss with you, educate us, show us what are your needs, what are your priorities. And I think that when we started this process in Keycocker, we saw a successful resolution, because one of the most salient outcomes of these discussions is a lack of proper representation of the fishing community. Because you have the department and the ministry, you have the cooperatives who are the ones that sit on the Fisheries Advisory Council, which is really the highest mechanism for the decision making. Those are the ones that advise the minister on the decisions that need to be made. And so these cooperatives, 4 of them, well, 2 main cooperatives and the Shunush and Hopkins sit on the Advisory Council as representatives of the fisheries sector.
At the end of the public meeting, the ministry agreed to delay the inevitable for 1 year so that consultations can be done in more detail with the fishing community.
There's no solution, there's no kind of help for us to overcome this how can I say, catastrophe when it comes to our monies that we will be collecting every trip.
Well, maybe it might be a compromise from him, and he said that he will meet with us and we will fight it. We will fight it. I could promise the nation.
I'm not running away from the thing. We have to speak the truth, and we have to take the bull by the horns, and that is what we're doing, and leading in a way that let him know the regulations has to happen. It's not no. It's when. We have to answer that. It's coming. It's binding. Another thing also important you need to understand is that it's binding. We can be cited. We can be sanctioned. We don't want to do that. That would be catastrophic.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
Members of the Tourism Police Unit have been training with a self-defense tactic instructor for the past 2 weeks. These officers operate within major tourist destinations across Belize. They must be prepared at all times to respond to any situation. This is why the Belize Tourism Board partnered with the Belize Police Department to offer training exercises that will improve security measures within these major destinations to the benefit of all stakeholders within the industry. We spoke with Abil Castaneda, the Director of Capacity Development at BTB, about the exercise.
Next thing is take the keys and put it on top of the ignition. On top.
Keys and put it on top of the vehicle.
Good. Need that. Both hands out the window. Let's hear it.
Both hands out the window.
Push them out. I want to see push them out.
Push them farther. Farther.
With your left hand, open the door.
With your left hand, open the door.
Step out of the vehicle.
Step out of the vehicle.
Hands up. Hands up. Hands
Both
up.
Hands up. Hands up.
Turn around.
Turn around.
Keep turning.
Turn around. Turn around.
Stop.
Stop.
What we're finding is that it's well received because it's almost sort of a refresher in some ways, in some cases, but also we're looking at new elements of training for our TPU, specifically dealing with how they communicate with people, right? How do they de-escalate conflicts, how they deal with difficult situations, but in a very professional manner.
Walk back to the sound of my voice. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Hands up. Keep walking. Keep walking. Stay there. Steady. Stop.
So I think that is the biggest win so far for the training. Of course, there is an element of defense tactics that they're learning as well, which takes them to another level, and that is also well received. Very fun to see when they're learning how to do the proper tactics, non-lethal ways of how to de-escalate conflicts, etc. So that has been principally what we have seen so far, and I must say that that is exactly the main objective that we wanted for this training. This whole training is a part of a larger program that we are rolling out, a national training program that the Belize Tourism Board is rolling out called Elevate. There are 5 sub-programs under that, and one of the sub-programs is actually called SAFE, which is to train our industry on health and safety, but also on security, how to improve security measures. They are just another unit under the police department, but what they do is that they work very closely with us in our main destinations. So there's TPU in San Pedro, in Kikaker, in the Cayo district, down south. And what they do is that they lend a more direct connection with the Belize Tourism Board, the Ministry of Tourism, in the case of needing to follow up on things. So I'll give you an example. When we do enforcement visits and checking on whether our tour guides are properly licensed, whether they are tour operators that are working without a license, whether the hotel properties are maintaining themselves within the minimum requirements. It is our tourism police unit that supports us in going out and doing the checks for us.
Not that leg out. The man just arm and weapon on him. Out to him.
The Belize network of NGOs says it is concerned about the effects that our fossil fuel-driven planet has had on the climate crisis, particularly as it has been demonstrated along Belize's coast and keys. The NGO umbrella draws specific attention to several parts of our coastline and a number of popular islands that have been significantly eroded, which past generations of Belizeans once enjoyed. Secretary to the BNN Steering Committee, Dr. Elma Kay, agrees with the notion that behaviors must change if we are to meaningfully mitigate the impacts.
A lot of the times what's happening on the coast is there's the climate change issue, but there's also the issues that compound the climate change issues. And for example, for Monkey River, those issues are inland issues, right? So the type of activities, agricultural and other type of degradation that is interrupting the flows of the river, the way those sediments would normally travel to the sea and accumulate. So the sort of, water abstraction or getting of water for agricultural activities upstream. Because if you think about the inland systems, right, they always drain into the coast. So there's a whole dynamic there of how those systems are moving and flowing and carrying sediments. And so when you start interfering with those activities upstream, you also end up in some trouble right there. And so you couple that, which is the human activity that we are having here on the ground, with something like global climate change, which we ourselves are not responsible for primarily, We do emit some carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases that cause climate change through our activities, for example, our use of electricity, our transportation system.
Dr. Kay says the BNN empathizes with the residents of Placencia, St. Bite, and Monkey River who channeled their efforts and resources to take physical action to the crisis. But while the intent was admirable, the work proceeded without any of the legally required permits.
In the Silk Keys in particular, it's the issue of global climate change, which is causing sea level rise and, all these erosion effects. Now, for the Keys themselves, I am personally not aware of any major studies that would say this is what we need to do or this is how we have to tackle it. There has, in Belize, we don't invest as much as we should in some of these studies that are really necessary. You know, a lot of the NGO partners and other people that work on the ground in areas that are experiencing this erosion, they always have to get grants or have other people come and study those systems. So as far as I know, Marion, there isn't a wide body of literature. I think it's more the global literature that exists on what is happening. And we are seeing those impacts here. The community organized itself to take some action. I think that type of action is admirable because, you know, in our country, we don't always see examples of us like being so proactive and banding as community to do something. And I think what the press release is saying is that the community engagement portion of it, or the fact that the community is so into it, is extremely admirable. But we do have rules and laws here in Belize regarding protected areas. And there is also, scientific studies, and even if they're not specific for Belize, from other places that we can draw on to inform our actions. And so I think what, BNN is saying is when we have this type of action, it must still be within the legal bounds of how we must act.
After the break, the network of NGOs comes out strongly against domestic violence. But first, here's a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
¿Necesitas un proveedor de servicio móvil que te permita estar conectado con una cobertura LTE rápida y confiable en cualquier instante y desde cualquier lugar? ¿Quieres hablar con tu familia? ¿Compartir tus experiencias con alguien especial? ¿Administrar tu pequeña empresa? Para todo lo que necesites te mereces la mejor experiencia móvil. Ahora puedes hacer mucho más con los planes de datos postpago aumentados de Digi. Puedes disfrutar de 8 GB de datos en cualquier instante por tan solo $55 mensuales. O puedes compartir hasta 120 GB con 6 de tus amigos más cercanos. Estos son más datos LTE para que disfrutes durante el día, por las noches y los fines de semana sin restricciones. Disfruta a lo máximo con más datos para llamadas y mensajes ilimitados en todos los planes postpago de Digi. Visita la tienda Digi más cercana para inscribirte hoy. Solo necesitas una identificación válida y un comprobante de domicilio. Únete a la red de mayor velocidad y cobertura en Belice. Para más información visita nuestra página web www.livedigi.com o envíanos un mensaje a través de WhatsApp o Facebook. Digi, nuestra telecomunicación nacional.
Watch The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings of the First Church of Our Lord Jesus Christ every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. exclusively on Channel 5 Belize. The Truth of God with Pastor Gino Jennings every Sunday at 8 a.m. on Channel 5 Belize.
Every day, we access energy for cooling, lighting, and powering our electrical appliances and devices at work and at home. During cooler months, we rely less on cooling appliances such as fans and air conditioners. However, during warmer months, as the temperature and humidity rises, we use more energy to cool our spaces, and our appliances and electrical devices work harder than they do during the rest of the year. When the months become hotter, let's all practice energy conservation. Here are a few changes that you can make to manage your energy use. Check that all appliances and electrical devices are working efficiently. Turn lights off when not in the room. Unplug chargers, appliances when not in use. Turn off fans and TVs. Use energy-saving light bulbs such as LEDs. And look for the Energy Star products when purchasing appliances and electrical devices. These easy changes can reduce energy use and costs. You can also monitor your energy use during the month by reading your meter and calculating the reading using BEL's bill calculator on our mobile app or by visiting our website. Let's all save energy.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5 Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Last evening, we shared the Bureau of Standards' new goals as it celebrates its 30th anniversary. Aside from focusing on offering its laboratory services to companies in the private sector and coming up with a national quality policy, which it will present to Cabinet shortly, the Bureau is also looking to develop new standards for 9 products commonly found at the market. Standards Officer at the Bureau, Lloyd Oriano, shared some of the products we can soon expect to have high standards for.
We are going to be looking at standards for example, pineapples, looking at standards for sweet and hot peppers, tomato, cabbage, carrots. And then we're also going to be looking at standards for honey, right? So these are the things that we might not appreciate at the end of the day, but when we, for example, onion, like if you can differentiate an imported onion and a locally produced onion. You can differentiate an imported carrots and a locally produced carrots. Now, one is not appealing to the eye, one is. But what we want to do is to standardize these agricultural products, right? So that they meet certain technical requirements, whether it has to do with the quality requirements, whether it has to do with good agricultural practices, whether it has to do with food safety.
Oriano explained that the standardization of goods and services are based on recognized international best practices and the importance to do things consistently in accordance with technical requirements.
The standards are actually demand-driven. So it has to come from a need in the market, a need from industry, a need from various aspects. If we are going to transition to biodegradable alternatives, then we need to know what those will be. What requirements, what do we mean when we talk about biodegradable and compostable materials? Standards come into play. So then we need to look at what standards will the country of Belize will implement to ensure that if we transition, and we are transitioning to biodegradable alternatives, that indeed they are. People that export, they know all about standards. Why? Because the export market it is a requirement. So you make sure that your investment that you make is in line with standards, right? So it could be from your customer requirements. Your customer is now requiring a certain type of, for your product to meet a certain type of quality, as we say. So as a company, and you are investing and you are undertaking a certain process, providing a certain product or a service, you need to ensure that you know what those requirements are. And you need to make sure that your process is built in accordance to that.
A big part of what the Bureau of Standards does is to calibrate a lot of the instruments that are used to determine a certain gauge or measurement in the public, such as scales used to weigh shop and market produce. But has it ever crossed your mind whether the blood pressure gauge used to take your pressure or the one used to take your glucose level is properly calibrated? How about the meters attached to your homes that determine how much electricity or water your family consumes each month? While the government's utility companies have their own in-house calibration units, and there is no law in place that prescribes for the Bureau of Standards to calibrate those meters, the Bureau encourages medical institutions, particularly those in the private sector, to use its services to calibrate its measuring instruments. Most of the fuel pumps at gas stations are calibrated by the Bureau. David Guerra, a metrology officer at the Bureau of Standards, explained how instruments are calibrated and verified.
When you put in fuel, when you go to the pump, you pump in $20 gas. I don't know how much you get these days. You get 5 gallons of gas. Again, you take it for granted that that dispenser is dispensing your 5 gallons and that it's matching the correct price. Right? That has been determined. But how do we determine that, or how do we ensure that? Again, through calibration and verification of the equipment. Now there's a difference between both of them. When we talk about verification, it's taking a measuring instrument and determining whether or not it's meeting specific requirements, perhaps manufacturer requirements. It's a pass-fail criteria. Is it doing what it's meant to do? Yes or no? Yes, so it fails or it passes. Whereas calibration takes a measuring instrument and we compare it with another measuring instrument or reference that we know or we have confidence on what the status of this measurement is. The next time you go to the store and you make a purchase, next time you pump a gas, next time you go to your doctor, think about those results that you're receiving and maybe even ask him this year or next fiscal year, what we want to do is to do another survey to see what type of measuring instruments are out there again, to see how the Bureau is going to further develop in terms of metrology.
Non-government organizations have called for a collective response against domestic and sexual violence. The move follows recent reports of domestic assault primarily upon women. To this end, the Belize network of non-governmental organizations, otherwise known as the BNN, says it publicly commits to participating in a renewed collective response to identify targeted actions to address these issues. Haven House is a member of the BNN, and President of Haven House, Dr. Charmaine Sanders, explained to News 5 that it is important to take a more aggressive approach to protect our families.
So we are grateful that the BNN has taken up this initiative and we are in full support. We recognize also that through our 13th senator who represents the BNN, we are able to advocate for legislative changes, and we at Haven House have discussed several areas where we believe there can be strengthening of legislation that will allow for a reduction in domestic violence situations, right? We're grateful that there has been great advocacy on the part of the Minister of Human Development. For us at Haven House, we recognize and acknowledge her as one of the persons who have helped to make fundamental legislation in the past concerning domestic violence. That is a fact. And so we recognize that under her ministerial position, she's now encouraging changes and advocating for those changes and really getting them done and quickly, we looked at the change recently for Nora Param, the monumental or historical advances made in that area, and we applaud those efforts. Recently, however, we've seen a spike in domestic violence situations, and I think it has become very concerning for the community.
Saunders informed that the NGOs will actively seek amendments to current legislation on domestic violence that will more effectively tackle the problem and address it from a holistic point of view.
One of those areas is to revisit how the state approaches the domestic violence situation, where women can go and ask and make a request to drop the charges, and the case is out the door, and the state no longer pursues that. However, under a criminal code, you will note that there's a difference. If there's a murder or there's some charge, the state continues to pursue that. So we're looking at how we can address the penalties, or how the justice system can work to help us reduce the domestic violence. There's has to be a political will and a level of seriousness in our approach as a society in dealing with domestic violence. So that is essentially our thrust. We have other recommendations looking at batterers intervention. That is not unique to our Belizean society. There was a valid attempt made at trying to address the batterer and their needs. Unfortunately, our organization does not necessarily deal with the batterer. That's not our intervention, but we recognize that we do have to provide a level of support because that is a crucial area that needs to be addressed as well. How will the state address the matter of a batterer, if there's a batterer's intervention, and dealing with the root cause of the issues of domestic violence?
When we return, BHS hosts its 4th annual robotics competition, and a promising young attorney is called to the bar. But first, here is the weather forecast with data from the Belize Met Service.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
My name is Wilmer De La Rosa from Santa Elena Town. I am currently a student at Cayo, set for employment training. Enrolled in the electrical installation program. In late July 2021, I got a confirmation that I was a successful applicant and would be granted a scholarship from Social Security Board. It was one of the proudest moments for me. I felt very excited to start this new path in my life. So far on my journey as a Social Security Board scholar, my vocational technical scholarship has assisted me in achieving my life goals in so many ways. For one, it has renewed sense of purpose, another chance at professional development, and a start at a new career. This opportunity has paved the way for me to excel in life as an individual and as a member of society. Great things are coming after I graduate from SET. I can promise you that. Applying for a vocational technical scholarship through the Social Security Board is simple and easy. I would advise young people in need to apply. It is possible to create a fulfilling and fruitful life with a Social Security scholarship. Believe in yourself and your abilities and skills. I always say, the key is to always keep an open mind and let your determination be your motivation.
Compostable plastics. To understand what a compostable plastic is, we need to know that composting is a natural way to recycle decomposed organic material like oranges or banana peels. So, a compostable plastic is similar to the banana peel in the sense that it also undergoes biological decomposition in a compost site and doesn't leave any toxic residue. In fact, it breaks down into carbon dioxide, water, inorganic compounds, and biomass at a similar rate of compostable materials. This is great because once properly disposed of, compostable plastic food packaging will be broken down in a manner much kinder to the environment compared to plastics. The recycled materials would return to Earth quickly and safely as soil when disposed of in the right environmental conditions and temperatures. It's important to note that for decomposition to occur, all compostable products must reach a sanitary landfill where there is proper management of the waste through disposal and treatment. Click on the link below to see what you can do to help end the nightmare of single-use plastics. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Belize High School held its 4th robotics competition at its compound in Belize City. This year's competition saw the participation of 7 teams that were tasked with various degrees of challenges. Preparations for this competition have been ongoing for months. Today, these high school students finally got a chance to show off their robotic skills. News 5's Paul Lopez stopped in at BHS and he filed the following report.
BHS Code Red Cobras, kindly approach our championship table.
Belize High School held its 4th robotic competition on Friday. The competition saw the participation of 7 teams. The New Hope High School team from Orange Walk Town was the only visiting team that competed this year. The other 6 teams were made up of students from Belize High School. We spoke with Senny Correa, New Hope High School's IT teacher.
I feel excited and I feel that all the hard work paid off because it was definitely days and after school hours working hard with the students and also late hours in the night working and trying to see how the code works. So we are very excited. I am very excited about this opportunity.
Your program at the school, how long has it been running?
Actually, this program that we have at New Hope High School is an elective robotics class, and we are planning to further it more and get more students involved as well.
So when you heard the call from BHS, what was your thoughts?
My thoughts were, let's go get it, let's participate, and whatever the outcome is, we are ready to embrace the challenge, and this is like a warm-up because next year we plan to come again, and this time we get better.
Belize High School sent out a call, and New Hope High School was the only school to respond to that call this year. We spoke with Jamie Usher, the principal of Belize High School, about the robotics program at BHS.
BHS has always had an integration of technology. So from 2010 when we started, we were the first school to require laptops as part of our book list. And so robotics really fell in naturally. We have been blessed with an excellent IT cohort of teachers, and we have an IT director in Mr. Sosa that's able to keep up with this trend of robotics that has really exploded over the years, and even more so over COVID. And so we're very pleased in what robotics has been able to offer. It's a gender neutralizing sport. That's how we want to look at it. We want to look that it's girls and boys able to compete in their mind and in their logical thinking, but come together to collaborate. And so within the teams of FIRST, that is a competition that we do. FIRST stands for the inspiration and recognition of science and technology.
Godfrey Sosa, the IT director at Belize High School, and his team of IT teachers are the masterminds behind this robotic competition. Sosa told us that he wishes to see more schools incorporate robotics into their curriculum.
People always use the terminology that we have the kids of this day and age are product of the digital age. So a lot of these things that they're interacting with in terms of the software, the application, the robot, a lot of it comes as an innate ability to them. What we do is just to try to develop that into more logic, into more application, so that they're not able to carry out tasks such as these. Well, I am excited. I'm hoping that as we progress and we move through the years that it does catches on to other schools, and it's something that we can maybe make even better, no, and bigger. We do have support of business community out there, such as Fulltech, GSCom, VIP Wireless, Cellular World. They have all come on board in addition to Unicomer, offering fabulous prizes for this competition.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Team Mercury, a team made up of students from Belize High School, came out on top of today's competition. Tradewinds 2022 officially came to a close today. A ceremony was held at Price Barracks in Ladyville to mark the culmination of the two-week exercise. Officers from 22 countries are returning home, having strengthened relations with regional and international counterparts. Today we caught up with Captain Elton Bennett, the Commandant of the Belize Coast Guard, and Brigadier General Azriel Loria, the Commander of the Belize Defense Force. They shared how Belizean soldiers benefited from the training.
It's a good opportunity for us to have our personnel involved with the training. Our personnel being instructors, being mentors, and just providing that support system for an exercise this big is a huge undertaking for us. So we're grateful for that opportunity that we had to do the training. It also allowed us to focus on our interoperability, particularly with Mexico, where we had the opportunity to work within a joint exercise and with a Caribbean task force, exchanging information, passing information, analyzing, and then deploying on those intelligence operations in order to be effective in our operational design. So it's a huge opportunity, and we're grateful to be a part of it and to have been the host for this year.
The majority of the countries are from the region. They share our same values, our same doctrine, our same drills, how we march, how we parade on the streets. So that was not that much of a challenge. The challenge is working with larger armies like Mexico, like the Colombians that were here, like the French and the great United States of America. So, but that is the aim of one of the aims of the exercise, to conduct operations so that we know what are we deficient on and what can we keep improving on, and that is called interoperability.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is making certain safety recommendations to schools in light of the increase in COVID-19 cases. The ministry is not recommending that schools close for face-to-face learning at this time, or that students return to hybrid learning. It is, however, imploring schools to adhere to the health practices that lower the transmission of the COVID-19 virus. These include the washing of hands and the wearing of face masks. And in the event a classroom experiences an increase in infections among its students, Dr. Melissa Musa says there are steps to be taken.
We have, by the definition, that we would say yes, we do have some clusters in certain areas, certain businesses. We're seeing a trend of more and more cases coming out. And definitely in some schools. Now, with regards to the schools, it is important that we have learned a lot from COVID-19. And when schools started in the hybrid manner, we had quite a successful few months with that hybrid learning. Now that schools have been trying to go back fully, And now that the BA2 is circulating and we're seeing increased numbers, it's something that we've got to look at the schools individually. But first and foremost, as I said earlier, the public health measures, trying to stress to the kids and teachers and principals the importance of the public health measures, the social distancing, reducing a lot of what we know may cause spread, and try to be as strict as possible in the classroom, keeping the classrooms open, having the hand washing done regularly. So all these things will help to reduce the transmission. And in classes, if you have a class of 20 students and 10 are positive at that point, or 4 are positive, we need to say, we've got to make a decision for that class. Let's suspend that class. You go back to the hybrid learning, and we've got to wait until that transmission cycle has been broken.
On Monday, we featured the newly elected chairman of Doublehead Cabbage Village, Roman Mokalok, after an independent slate led by him won the village council election. Well, tonight he is back in the news, but this time under more unfortunate circumstances. Mokalok's warehouse located on his property was destroyed by fire, and he believes it was arson. The incident happened on Wednesday, and when we spoke with him today, he told us that he has his suspicions as to the persons that may be behind this crime.
Well, Wednesday when I was at work, between 4:15 and 4:30, I received a call from one of my friends. She said that your house is on fire. I was like, what? I was like, which one of my houses is on fire? She said the small one. I was like, oh, that's my storage house. So I quickly called one of my cousins. I told him to go over to my house quickly. So when he get over there, I called back, and he said some people was already over there. That is some of my neighbors, some good Samaritan from my village. They're trying to prevent my house from getting on fire because my the storage house is like 15 to 20 feet away from my house. And then when I get home, there was like on the meter on my house, the heat from the storage house melt the meter on my house. You know, that was it is so serious. So it is weird that my storage house burnt first, and then the fire started to spread like a bushfire. So I don't think I would point fingers as I said. Let me see what the police have to say about that.
You have some suspicions at this point, I would imagine.
Yes, I do.
What was inside that warehouse?
The most important thing that inside that bothers me, it was a bed that was 50 plus years. That bed was for my mom. That was passed on from her grandmother. And my mom changed her bed in 2016, right? And my mom passed in 2013. Well, that was the only bed that I have to remember her with.
Is there any possibility, any chance, even a little bit, slightest, that you may have been targeted as a result of your recent victory?
As I said, I will leave that up to the police department to do the investigation.
A promising young attorney from Orange Walk Town was called to the bar this morning. The brief ceremony was held virtually due to COVID-19 protocols. Nonetheless, Davini Chell's entire family made the trip to Belize City to attend her swearing-in, as she was called upon by seasoned attorney Derek Courtney. Davini now joins her older sister, Shanide Chell, who was also called to the bar in 2016. Here's News 5's Isani Caetano with that story.
6 years after her sister became a practicing attorney, 25-year-old Davini Chell has joined her in the legal fraternity. This morning, Senior Counsel Derek Courtney called her to the bar before Acting Chief Justice Michelle Arana. For the Chell family, which comes from humble beginnings, this achievement is another landmark as they continue to push for the education of their 3 children.
My ambition started really in first form at high school. From there, I decided that I wanted to study law. And then after sixth form, after attending Mufulgir College, I made my way to the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill campus in Barbados for 3 years to obtain my Bachelor of Laws, and then I completed law school last year in Jamaica.
For her elder sibling, this accomplishment is the culmination of her parents' effort to ensure that they are aptly qualified and prepared for the world of work. In this case, the legal profession.
As Dovini's older sister, I can say that I'm very proud. She has worked so hard for this moment. Everyone in our family is proud, our grandparents, our parents, our aunts, uncles, everyone is so proud of her. And the family we feel grateful for this opportunity to share this very important milestone in her life.
At present, Dovini Chell is undertaking her pupillage at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. After completing her apprenticeship, she will be considered a practicing attorney with a right of audience before all courts.
Currently, I am at the DPP's office as a Crown Counsel, so I'm practicing criminal law. So I will continue to practice criminal law in the DPP's office as a Crown Counsel.
What advice would you give to any young woman who aspires to join the legal profession at some point in her life?
To carry on, and that in moments where you may feel like you're overloading, just take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and one subject at a time. And there is an end, and in the end you will feel accomplished.
It's a feel-good story that, for the Chell sisters, would not have become a reality if it wasn't for the support of their parents, as well as friends and family.
It is only through our parents' hard work, our family's support, support of our friends that we could have accomplished this. And so it means a lot for us to be here with her in this moment. You know, it's a special moment in her life. And we wouldn't trade it for anything else to be able to say that we are Chell sisters, attorneys at law from Orange Walk.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
Just ahead, Sabrina looks at an industrial zone as an alternative to crime and violence in the old capital. Stay with us.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 police teams do whatever it takes, go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 believes on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because news is now everywhere, all the time, and so are we.
After a rough week of school, Jake and his friends decide to treat themselves to frozen coffee. And since they don't have cash on them, they decide to use eCash. With eCash's geolocation feature, Jake can easily find the nearest coffee spot. With eCash's built-in option to split bills, Jake can pay the bill and his friends can reimburse their portion of the bill. Jake scans the merchant's code and confirms payment. Jake then views his transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made, then taps the Split the Bill button where he selects the Evenly option to evenly split the bill. The application splits the bill automatically. His friends receive and accept the request. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash makes Jake enjoy his digital lifestyle.
National Agriculture and Trade Show is back. Visit the Next Gen booth for exclusive deals and discount on our Next Gen service bundles, high-speed internet, and more. Come experience a cinema setup and watch the Champions League finals on a big screen. We're bringing you great service and entertainment to the 2022 showgrounds. We'll see you there. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
This week, Sabrina looks at a positive alternative to crime and violence amid the scourge that has gripped the old capital. She visited a group of young men and women who are intent on making a change in their lives for the better by occupying themselves with work inside what they call an industrial zone. Here's Sabrina on the bright side.
Where the busy streets of Belize City meet passerbys, so does the haunting feeling of coexisting criminal activity. Gang warfare and violence plagues the South Side. The lingering question, what does it take for the crime to end?
We been through a lot in our life too, and we know it's our time for we change we life and the bedroom there as well, and where if it change too, and then work with me. This program how they orchestrate. We try orchestrate to an industrial zone in for we community to try bring back one kind of life in for we society or check, because all in years lot of crime and violence going up the streets of Belize City. So we decide to start something new in for we community. As elders, you understand me?
Brent Garoy has seen his fair share of fearful eyes. Residing in Taylor's Alley on Orange Street, Belize City, he admits to a dark past. One after a 5-year sentence prompted him to make a critical change.
That's something when they push me to do. So I don't just can't do this right. So I plan all of this while I'm in a prison, while I work. I was be the head carver at Belize Central Prison. I carve out the door in there for so much years, the Laruta my door, and I come on now, yes ma'am. And I come on now, I beg and I ask for the contract, so I come and do it, and then they help me. Check with people who buy things for me and donate and leave 1 or 2 things to me or check. And that's why I push my effort enough to try turn around my youth, because every day they come back and they like so I do, and I tell them come. Check so we could learn more.
An effort to leave the past behind and tread on positive ground birthed the concept of the industrial zone. It's an open lot that Brent and his associates believe will put a stint in crime and give an option to youth.
We try to show the community and the society that from destruction there can be production. Understand? We try to turn a new leaf. And we show people that because these people structure in our league corner and they sit down and they organize the crime. No, we don't organize crime. We organize one new entity, production, like I said, the industrial zone. This is a cater for youths learning, like our program. Without the government, without anybody, this is what we do for free youths there. Any youths outside could come and learn to see me. A lot of youths come out of school, so and then I graduate, graduate, and I got no headway. So better just try something and design your own job, your life skills. That's what we offer.
The industrial zone caters to anyone willing to learn trade basics in carpentry, vehicle mechanics, landscaping, or something simple as the do's and don'ts in car washing. But the best part is the harmony it builds among the stakeholders within the community.
We start this thing, no problem happening for we community. We try to keep up this. Understand me? If we keep up this, the people give we lot of lead job. People here we pressure holes down their building and anything no check. They come and park their business car right here and we wash their car and then get back their vehicle safe and everything alright, and they're not afraid now. They're not fear we no more. We don't lead no fearness enough in their heart no more. From what we do your car and say. And every day we hear like, yes mama, yes dads, and hear we back a nice way and a support way. Any way they can. Check. So they find it a good way, and you could go check with them too if you want to know, and they want to tell you no.
And so we did. Vendors within the community shared their view of what it means for an initiative like this to take place.
Well, I feel like the young men are trying to evolve and do the right thing to uplift their community and themselves, and I'm very proud of some of them who are trying to make the community a better place and a safer place to be around.
That is a good thing for the youths in our area to change their life. I feel it's a positive initiative, and we support it as a business. I believe that everybody should get a chance, not because it is the first mistake you do in life. Everybody deserves a chance, a second chance.
At the first, when we came here, a lot of people told us, it's a bit dangerous, but we had that live friendship with them. They always check on us, or they're always giving an eye on us, like when it's a busy time, they always keep an eye because we take some stuff out there. I feel happy about them because they will entertain their life in that way, and they can left the streets if they were doing something back then they will improve in their life.
I can explain that. The biggest thing people watch you as monsters. We want to make people know that no monster around here. A lot of people don't expect this from we. You understand me? And in my point of view, you don't watch what nobody say. You have to live for you. You understand me? A lot of youths, they follow people who hold on here. You understand me? So if you teach youth they the right thing, they will do the right thing. You understand me?
And the perfect example of youth following suit presented itself right across the street from the industrial zone.
I recently come out of jail in October 2021, the 28th of October, and I decided, and I really want to go to jail again, so I just start up this little business or so, and by the grace of the Father, it elevates, right? And sometimes I get discouraged and I really want to sell and bail people behind things, but my brothers, they encourage me and always tell me if you don't give up, and they like so what I do. And that motivate me and give me strength and power. And also, I'm an artist, right? Songwriter and thing. And soon I will publish a little album. So that's what I have to go see my talent and get the message from what I say in my song there too, right?
So,
yes.
Doing all of this supplies the dream what you have?
Yes, ma'am. By doing this, I could get equipment, could buy rhythm and get studio time.
Looking on the bright side, I'm Sabrina Daly.
If you would like to support the industrial zone in donation or business, you can contact Brent Garoy on Facebook or contact him by cell at 633-8570. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Annalyn Apollonia. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.